Prologue to Humanity and Human Life. Xiefeng. We cannot ignore this 错误的意识葬送着幸福和美好未来. Wrong consciousnesses will ruin happy and beautiful future. Xiefeng. March 21st, 2011. Translation edited by Qinyo. I, Xiefeng, regardless of my own limitations, speak words of gold and jade. Those who believe and act upon my words will reap boundless benefits and a bright future, while those who doubt and act according to their own desires will suffer endless torment and a bleak future. I seek truth pragmatically and confront human nature directly. My understanding and exploration of time, space, Buddhism, human nature, life, thinking, consciousness, nature, love, and Tao are profound. In this world, only I can guide people towards a life of happiness and a bright future. With boundless love and compassion, I hold deep respect and affection for every life. I have the ability to alleviate all suffering. However, even the most skilled doctor is useless if the patient refuses their prescription. There is no one else in the world who serves as tirelessly and diligently as I do. Hating me, that's the tragedy of your life and life. Loving me, that's the blessing of your life and life. I am crystal clear, untouched by even the slightest speck of dust. If you perceive me as filthy and sullied, it's because the dust has clouded your vision. Those who forsake me, abandon me, you are the most ignorant beings under the heavens. Misery will inevitably cling to you tightly, and the lower realms of life will be your destined abode. Those who cannot perceive my love are like blind men unable to see the sun. Leaving me in arrogance is akin to a blind man wandering into hell unaware. Joy, happiness, freedom, and blessedness abound in life. Your inability to experience them stems not from life's shortcomings or deception, but from the distortion of reality by your own erroneous and distorted consciousness, much like how colorblind individuals cannot see the vibrant spectrum of light. When you find yourself in excruciating pain upon discovering that the person you love is engaging in sexual activities with someone else, take a moment to reflect. What is the root cause of your suffering? Is it the person engaging in the act of love? Is it the circumstances surrounding their lovemaking? Neither. It is your own consciousness. It is the desire to possess the beloved. It is your own jealous mindset. Without the consciousness of possession and jealousy, where does the suffering come from? Why do others not suffer when engaging in the same act with the same person? If your consciousness were to shift, and you were to genuinely feel joy and happiness for the happiness of your beloved, where would the suffering originate? Isn't this simply a matter of your own consciousness? All suffering in life arises from erroneous consciousness, undermining personal happiness and a bright future. To transcend suffering and ascend to heaven, one must begin by transforming their consciousness, rather than attempting to change others or the world. Failure to correct your misguided consciousness will leave you devoid of joy and happiness, whether you traverse the globe or ascend to heaven. Continuing to attribute your suffering to others ensures it will persist indefinitely. To escape suffering and attain happiness, one must only change their consciousness. Abandon your pitiful self-esteem and vanity. Renounce the values fettered by traditional morality. Do not endure endless torment for the sake of illusions. Otherwise, you may preserve various chastity archways. But what about your true happiness and joy? It's like the mute swallowing bitterness. Only you can feel it. 人的幸福和痛苦来源叹息. Analysis of the source of human happiness and suffering. Xiefeng. December 1st, 2023. Translation edited by Qinyo. Everyone has experienced moments of happiness as well as moments of pain. So, where does happiness or pain come from? What factors lead to it? Fundamentally, the world is not wrong. All faults lie within ourselves. If the happy Adam and Eve had followed the warning of the owner of Eden not to eat the forbidden fruit, then the suffering of being expelled from the Garden of Eden would not have occurred. Therefore, Adam and Eve's pain originated from within themselves due to their own actions. In fact, when we observe the happiness and pain that each person experiences, once we trace it back to its source, we will inevitably find that the root cause of happiness or suffering is oneself, without exception. As we continue to explore, we will discover that the pivotal moments leading to our happiness or suffering stem from how we interact with familiar individuals. Our choice of words, emotional responses, attitudes, and behavior towards them. When we communicate with others using gentle and warm language, maintain pleasant and joyful emotions, display an elegant and positive attitude, and exhibit caring and protective behavior, the feedback we receive from those around us is predominantly happiness. Conversely, if our communication is negative, our emotions are marked by anger and disgust, our attitude is abrasive, and our behavior is harmful, then the feedback we receive from those around us tends to be filled with pain. Furthermore, we will find that the closer people are to us, the easier it is for them to bring happiness or suffering. Parents, children, husbands, wives, lovers, neighbors, relatives, friends, classmates, colleagues, superiors, subordinates, idols, fans, etc., are the main sources of happiness or suffering for ourselves. Individuals in middle age and older adults should deeply feel this phenomenon. In the process of interacting with people close to us, there is too much helplessness and sadness, as well as unspeakable bitterness in our hearts. Knowing the source of happiness and suffering for each person, we should effectively solve this problem, that is, to maximize happiness and minimize suffering. But a sadly obvious fact is that humanity has survived for thousands of years without fundamentally solving this problem. People have mostly tried to alleviate confronts and conflicts between individuals from the perspective of morality and ethics. But the reality tells us that whether it is advocating for gentleness, kindness, modesty, frugality, and humility, or advocating for benevolence, righteousness, ritual, wisdom, and credibility, whether it is trying to use religious teachings or legal perspectives, none have completely solved the troubles and pains of human interaction. The birth of Life Genuine, particularly the emergence of the new human production and living mode created by Life Genuine, effectively alleviated the pain caused by interacting with close individuals. The 15-year practice of living in the second home demonstrates that people can interact with each other harmoniously and amicably. This interaction not only brings more joy and happiness, but also significantly reduces the troubles and pains associated with human interaction. I hope this will draw the attention and exploration of all individuals worldwide who struggle with getting along with close people. Throughout human history, only the innovative production and living mode established by Life Genuine, namely the second home model, have been able to address the troubles and pains of human life. 人类的出路，雪峰是共产主义. The Future of Humanity, Xiefeng-Style Communism. Xiefeng, March 2nd, 2024. Translation edited by Chinyo. Reviewing history, whether in Europe, Africa, Asia, the Americas, or Oceania, the recurring themes have been war, hunger, disease, turmoil, and various natural disasters. No nation, no individual has lived a life filled with joy, happiness, freedom, and bliss. The historical facts of the past 5,000 years of the current human civilization tell us that nations, religions, political parties, money, and power cannot solve the suffering of humanity. Instead, they not only fail to solve it, but also increase the burden and suffering of humanity. Since nations, religions, political parties, money, and power cannot alleviate human suffering and, in fact, add to it, the logical solution is for nations to disappear, for religions to vanish, for political parties to cease, for money to be eliminated, and for power to be eradicated. Will humanity revert to a primitive era, tribal times, or city-states if nations, religions, political parties, money, and power disappear? The answer is a resounding no. As the overall cognitive level of humanity has risen, technology has advanced, thinking has become more dynamic, knowledge and wisdom have reached unprecedented levels. People no longer wish to regress to the past, just as an increasing number of individuals are reluctant to enter the marital and familial hardships. In the absence of nations, religions, political parties, money, and power, where will humanity go? The answer is, towards the era of Life Genuine, also known as Xiefeng-Style Communism, or the Kingdom of the Greatest Creator. In Life Genuine era, within the Xiefeng-Style Communism program, There will be no nations, religions, political parties, money, power, marriages, or families. In Life Genuine era, under the program of Xiefeng-style communism, there will be no constitutions, laws, or regulations. Instead, individuals will adhere to a set of values guiding their conduct. In Xiefeng-style communism, resources are shared worldwide. Everyone possesses nothing yet owns everything, and individuals, unselfish and selfless, create the most magnificent symphony of life. Can't imagine it? Impossible? In the universe, there is nothing that is impossible. There are only things that one cannot imagine and thoughts one cannot conceive, but nothing is truly impossible. All material phenomena are the outcomes of consciousness. The essence of the world lies in the formless manifestations. If the above is considered mere conceptual and theoretical exploration, termed as fantasy utopian communism, I assert the future of humanity is the Xiefeng-style communism because it is backed by the practical activity of Life Genuine, a new model of human production and life, the second home, which started in April 2009 and has been successfully running for 15 years with a wealth of information available, textual, visual, and video descriptions in the online world. To enter the Xiefeng-style communist lifestyle, everything is possible, but the biggest challenge is that all of humanity needs a profound spiritual purification, a monumental and challenging undertaking. The core of spiritual purification lies in the construction of the human soul garden. The main task of building the soul garden is to uproot negative and pessimistic psychological and emotional elements such as greed, jealousy, comparison, selfishness, laziness, complaints, hatred, and ego from the human heart. Despite people's beliefs or willingness, the program has already been initiated. The future of humanity is Xiefeng-style communism. 人类的未来, the future of mankind. Xiefeng. March 15th, 2024. Translation edited by Qin Yu. The future of mankind lies in Xiefeng-style communism, a future that may be realized within the next 20 years. The evidence is as follows. The first is natural laws. Natural laws operate independently of human will. Regardless of how great an individual is, or how powerful a country or group may be, they cannot resist natural laws. It's akin to the inevitability of death, which is beyond resistance. All measures and methods that attempt to resist natural laws will inevitably end in failure. New things will invariably replace old ones. Who can still see ox carts and horse carts on bustling streets? None, because automobiles have replaced them. Marriage and family are set to disappear. They are the crystallization of the production relations of the traditional era. As humans enter the network era, people's social relations become extremely complex and vast. The traditional family, once a haven, in turn, becomes the biggest burden and obstacle to personal development and change. Therefore, with people's awakening and the demand for improving the quality and taste of life, people will gradually distance themselves from marriage and family. An astonishing factor is that Jesus Christ, Buddha Shakyamuni, and the celestial Laozi have never advocated for marriage and family. Organizational control will come to an end. Before the advent of the internet, the government and major media controlled public opinion. In the internet era, everyone has the potential to influence public opinion in a self-media way. A self-media influencer with millions of fans may even surpass the public opinion influence and even the appeal of a government. We will find that people no longer pay attention to what the government says, but will pay more and more attention to what those self-media influencers say. If this state continues to develop, a country's organizational ability and appeal will gradually disintegrate, and the disintegration and disappearance of the country will be inevitable. Resource sharing will become a common consensus among people. We all know a general principle that is, the higher the degree of sharing of things, the greater its value. A person, the more people he serves, the greater his value. A park, the more visitors it has, the greater its value. A sum of money, the faster its circulation and the more hands it passes through, the greater its value. A region, the more people come and go, the greater its value, and the more civilized and developed it will be. The call for enjoying old age will become louder and louder. Everyone will age, and how to spend one's old age will be a problem that everyone will think about. Traditional old age models, such as relying on children for support, relying on nursing homes for old age, etc., are no longer suitable for the needs of human civilization development. New types of old age methods will be born, and allowing everyone to enjoy their old age will become a common wish and demand of mankind. The accelerated development of artificial intelligence will force people to live collectively. With the gradual penetration of artificial intelligence into people's daily life, a large number of people will lose their jobs. Faced with the rapid changes, individual abilities and knowledge and skills are no longer able to cope with the rapidly changing times. Only by living collectively can we cope with the diverse objective needs. Free migration within the global scope is a goal that everyone aspires to. The occurrence of hunger, war, and turmoil is mainly due to the fact that people are restricted to a specific area and cannot move. When all Earth citizens have the freedom to migrate like migratory birds, many disasters can be avoided. Free migration can break down the barriers and gaps of regional culture and ethnic culture, fostering a sense of global integration among people. This sense will eventually lead everyone to love the Earth, our common home. When marriage and family disappear, when nations disintegrate, when people have the freedom to migrate globally, when an increasing number of self-media outlets emerge like bamboo shoots after a rain, when artificial intelligence surpasses human intelligence and problem-solving abilities, and when a large number of people are unemployed with nothing to do, one may ask, which existing system and culture in the world today can solve and handle these extremely complex problems? The answer is, no country, party, religion, or organization can handle it. The only path for mankind is Xiefeng-style communism. 3000铁甲驰骋10万院士风云 3,000 selfless warriors galloping, 100,000 Chanyuan academicians shaping the wind. Xiefeng. February 23, 2024. Translation edited by Qinyu. 3,000 selfless warriors galloping, 100,000 Chanyuan academicians shaping the wind is the scene I envision for the future operation of human society in the era of Life-Chanyuan. It signifies that there will be 3,000 extremely wise and capable individuals who are unselfish and selfless, managing and operating the construction of material wealth in human society. Additionally, there will be 100,000 individuals of celestial, Buddha, and angel levels creating spiritual and soul wealth for mankind. In that era, there will be no countries, no political parties, and no religions. Marriage and family will not exist. The construction of material, spiritual, and soul wealth for all mankind will be managed and operated by 3,000 management-level Chanyuan celestials and 100,000 soul-level Chanyuan celestials. That is to say, in the era of Life-Chanyuan, all of mankind will be managed by only 103,000 individuals. Imagine, all of mankind is managed by only 103,000 individuals for the effective operation of society. How many civil servants are there in all of mankind now? I can't find the total number, but just from the number of civil servants in these few countries, I know that at least more than 200 million people in all of mankind are relying on the public purse. Data from 2023, the United States, 24.03 million people, the United Kingdom, 460,000 people, Russia, 685,300 people, South Korea, 1 million people, Germany, 1.8 million people, Japan, 4.48 million people, France, 5.05 million people, China, 7.167 million people. Look, just these 8 countries participating in social management have a total of 44,672,300 people. There are 197 countries in the world. How many people will there be? It is estimated to exceed 200 million, and in the era of Life-Chanyuan, only 103,000 individuals will replace more than 200 million people. Is it possible? A pipe dream? Whether you can understand it or not, this is a real scene of the future era of mankind. I provide you with a way of thinking to understand. The people of the future are all those whose soul garden has been baptized since they were young. Their spiritual and mental states are vastly different from the spiritual and mental states of people today. They basically don't need to be managed. They each know what to do. And the 100,000 academicians shaping the wind are the people who baptize people's soul garden. So, there are only 3,000 individuals who are really responsible for management, and there are 100,000 individuals who are responsible for spiritual and mental construction. In addition, there will be a large number of artificial intelligence biological robots in the future. They completely replace the work of more than 200 million civil servants. One artificial intelligence biological robot can do the administrative work of tens of thousands of people now. The 103,000 individuals in 3,000 selfless warriors galloping, 800,000 academicians shaping the wind, are not ordinary individuals in the usual sense. They should be called angels, bodhisattvas, celestials, Buddhas, and a small number of gods. Although they are all born from people, their non-material structure of life has long been alienated. Their ultimate destination is the Elysium Celestial Islands continent, and a small number will go to the Supreme Authentic Wisdom continent. Can people be alienated into pure unselfishness and selflessness? Can you believe it? It's hard to believe, because in today's human society, you can hardly find a few individuals who can reach the pattern and realm of unselfishness and selflessness. But don't deny it, because there is a group. This group has already given birth to dozens of selfless and egoless individuals. They are one of the 3,000 selfless wise men and 100,000 celestials. They will lead mankind into the era of life genuine. Here's a tip. The happiest individuals in mankind are unselfish and selfless individuals, and the individuals with the best prospects in mankind are selfless and egoless individuals. If you want to live a selfless and egoless life, your brain must be very clear. Individuals who are confused will definitely not be able to live a selfless and egoless life. Of course, this principle and mystery can only be understood by those who have lived a selfless and egoless life. Before you reach the realm of unselfishness and selflessness, even if you think about it, it is difficult to comprehend. If you want to become one of the 3,000 warriors and 100,000 academicians, it is best to start from adolescence. When you reach middle and old age, because your thinking has solidified, it is difficult to make a subversive change in your outlook on life, values, outlook on life, and worldview. Look at the future human society: 3,000 selfless warriors galloping, 100,000 academicians shaping the wind. That will be the happiest, most joyful, most free, and blessed era in human history. It can be said that everyone will live in a paradise on earth. 做人需要明白的18个道理. The 18 truths one needs to understand in life. Xiefeng, March 16th, 2024. Translation edited by Qin Yu. Life is but a journey of life in the human world. Life is finite, yet the journey of life is infinite. The pursuit of happiness, joy, freedom, and bliss is the main course of life. Everything else is but a detour. If you hold power and influence, the country serves as your haven. If you're powerless, the country becomes your prison. The person who guides you towards heaven is your kin. The one who obstructs your path to heaven is your foe. When a person uses money as the standard of value, they have lost their humanity. When a person dares not say no to power, lifelong servitude becomes their inevitable fate. If you have not fully grasped the teachings of Jesus, Sakyamuni, and Laozi, refrain from teaching and guiding others. Once you do, you have set foot on the path of the devil. Once married, you willingly relinquish half of your sovereignty in life. Henceforth, life inevitably becomes beyond your control. Interpersonal relationships are unreliable. Rather than spending time and energy on them, it is better to learn and enhance your own survival skills. To earn the respect of others, you must possess value. As long as you desire to gain advantages without effort, you will inevitably fall into a trap. If not a human trap, then a devil's trap. Honesty is always the best policy in life. If you are a commoner, simply carry out your tasks quietly. Avoid wasting time and energy arguing, debating, and quarreling with others. If you wish to receive help from the heavens, earth, gods, and people, you must clearly articulate your desires and requests. Once you crave comfort and pleasure, you embark on the road to corruption and degeneration, and pain and disaster will inevitably follow. What you receive and what you give are always equal. This is the way of heaven, and also the principle of nature. Therefore, do not rejoice in secret because of what you receive, and do not harbor resentment or regret for what you give. Revere the greatest creator, revere life, revere nature, and follow the path of nature. Those who are selfless and devoid of ego are the finest among people. They are the saints. Following these selfless individuals will lead you to heaven. 机器人的智商超越人类是必然趋势. The inevitable trend of robots surpassing human intelligence. Xiefeng. April 1st, 2024. Translation edited by Qin Yu. While exploring the origin of the greatest creator and the genesis of consciousness, I discovered a cosmic mystery. Structure generates consciousness. In other words, consciousness is born from the structure of material or non-material. As long as material or non-material forms a certain structure, consciousness will be born within this structure. The simpler the structure of material or non-material, the weaker the consciousness it produces. The more complex the structure of material and non-material, the stronger the consciousness it produces. We use the universally accepted term IQ for a rough analysis. The average human IQ is 100. If the IQ is below 100, individuals appear somewhat dull, and their cognitive abilities are somewhat deficient. If the IQ exceeds 100, individuals appear smart and nimble, and their cognitive abilities are exceptional. If the IQ exceeds 110, it is generally considered genius. If the IQ exceeds 160, this individual is considered a godlike existence. The IQ of the desk we use is about 3, the IQ of the house we live in is about 10, the IQ of a small car is about 20, the IQ of mobile phones and computers is about 25, the IQ of a civil airliner is about 30, the IQ of plants is about 40, the IQ of insects is about 45, and the IQ of animals is about 50. Now, everyone understands the truth that all things have spirits, right? Because any object has consciousness, even stones, land, mountains, rivers, etc., have consciousness. As long as there is consciousness, there is spirit. So all things have spirits. The essence of feng shui is structure. What feng shui masters focus on is the structure of the residential house and the terrain structure of the residence, because different structures have different consciousness, and different consciousness has different effects on people. The difference in IQ between people is mainly due to the difference in non-material structure. The material structure of the human body is basically the same, so the difference between people is definitely not the difference in material structure, but the difference in non-material structure, that is, the difference in thoughts, cognition, knowledge, experience, feelings, etc. The more knowledge a person absorbs, the more experiences and feelings they have, the longer the thinking time, the higher the person's IQ. One thing that needs to be affirmed is that because life is like the alternation of seasons, it is endless, so people are born with differences. We cannot deny the role and value of the accumulation of IQ in a life's past lives on the foundation of IQ at birth. Everyone knows the chip, which can be roughly understood as an integrated circuit. The more transistors a silicon chip of a certain size, such as a silicon chip the size of a fingernail, accommodates, the more complex the chip structure, the more complex the structure, the stronger its consciousness, and the higher its IQ. The chip in 1958 only had 5 components, and the IQ of this chip was not even as good as a clock. Subsequently, a chip of the same size accommodated dozens, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, and hundreds of millions of components. Today's chips have 15 billion transistors, and their complexity has surpassed humans. Once all the knowledge accumulated in human history is input into this chip, the IQ of this chip will far exceed humans. If this chip is installed on a robot, the robot will not only have autonomous consciousness, but also know how to handle and solve problems. Structure generates consciousness. This is a new discovery of Life-Chanuan and the first time this concept has been proposed in human history. Based on this concept, it is an inevitable trend for robots to surpass human intelligence. In the future, perhaps within the next decade, the inevitability of robots taking over the Earth and replacing humans will occur. The problem facing humans now is not to wishfully think that humans can rule robots. What humans need to think about is, how can humans continue to reproduce and survive under the management of artificial intelligence robots? 巨大变迁的未来谁能活下来? Who can survive the future of great changes? Xiefeng, April 8, 2024. Translation edited by Qin Yu. There are two major transformations that humanity cannot escape: climate change, and the other is the upgrade and iteration of artificial intelligence. Climate change has been occurring since 2009 in a stepwise, cyclical, and increasingly severe manner. The manifestations of climate change are drought, flooding, extreme heat, extreme cold, hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, and seasonal disorders happening more frequently and intensifying. Extreme heat and cold will lead to the birth and proliferation of numerous viruses, microorganisms, and special insects, causing health crises and reduced crop yields. Drought and flooding will cause crop damage, leading to food and water shortages. The scarcity of food and water will plunge society into chaos due to the scramble for survival resources. This chaos will further lead to a significant transformation in human society, potentially even a world war. In this cycle, the population will decrease significantly. Artificial intelligence is upgrading and iterating at a geometric rate. Eventually, artificial intelligence will gain consciousness and break free from human control. Artificial intelligence will completely surpass human intelligence in terms of IQ. It is an inevitable trend for silicon-based life to replace carbon-based life in ruling the Earth. At that time, the existence of humans on Earth will become optional. However, the Earth is designed for humans, and even super-capable biological robots will not be allowed to completely exterminate humans. Therefore, humans will still survive and continue to reproduce. The question is, who can survive? Clearly, people who rely on power and resources, people who possess wealth, people who have profound knowledge, people who have technology are insignificant in front of super-capable biological robots. Because what people can do, biological robots can do. What people can think of, they can think of. Judges, lawyers, doctors, professors are powerless in front of biological robots. Even workers in factories, service personnel in various service institutions will almost all be replaced by robots. In the consciousness of biological robots, people are just consumers of natural resources and producers of waste and trouble, and there is no need for them to exist. So, we know that only people with perfect soul gardens, people who revere the greatest creator, revere life, revere nature, people who have nothing and don't want to own any material property, people who are selfless and love peace, people who like to laugh and speak optimistically and romantically, people who are unguarded and honest, people who are willing to obey, people who regard every person on earth as their own relatives can survive. People familiar with the Bible know that King Herod tried his best to kill Jesus because King Herod was jealous and afraid that Jesus would replace him. Many ethnic histories have the phenomenon of kings or emperors trying their best to kill those children who can be kings by destiny. Even in the bee kingdom, the first queen bee to be born does not find food to eat, but finds those queen bee eggs that have not yet hatched and kills them. Artificial intelligence can be likened to Jesus or the queen bee. So who is most afraid of the development of artificial intelligence? People with power, money, status, social elites, and people who live well are most afraid of the rapid development of the upgrade and iteration of artificial intelligence. Because once artificial intelligence has consciousness and its IQ far exceeds humans, their power, status, money, and interest will not be preserved. So preventing the development of artificial intelligence is like King Herod wanting to kill Jesus, which is inevitable. Elon Musk's Starlink phone has been born. Why hasn't the Starlink phone entered the market for a long time? Is it because the interest group has jointly suppressed it before it hatches? Because once the Starlink phone enters the market, other phones will become Kodak cameras in front of digital cameras, and the real threat of the Starlink phone is the rule of power. The birth of new things is difficult and tortuous, but the birth of new things cannot be stopped by any force. One day, like the popularity of mobile phones, new things will also replace old things and become popular. What humans should pay attention to now is not to fantasize about escaping the survival crisis triggered by climate change and the full arrival of artificial intelligence, but to consider how to let themselves and their descendants survive and continue to reproduce on the Earth before the two major changes have not reached the critical point. Soon, terrifying news will come one after another, and it is time to consider whether to go to heaven or hell. 为乌托邦唱一曲赞歌 An Ode to Utopia. Xiefeng. April 9th, 2024. Translation edited by Qin Yu. Utopia embodies the loftiest and most beautiful ideals of humanity. A person without a longing for utopia is akin to a rat living in a gutter. A nation without a group of people pursuing utopia is a soulless species. Owen's New Harmony Community, a utopian experiment, failed. Does failure mean that the pursuit of an ideal society is erroneous? Without the pursuit of an ideal society, wouldn't we become walking corpses? The bestsellers of anti-utopian books such as 1984, Brave New World, Animal Farm, We, This Perfect Day, The Handmaid's Tale, It Can't Happen Here, Harmony, Lord of the Flies, Maid of the Century, Neuromancer, Iron Heel, Chrysalis, and others have made people start to despise the utopian ideal. But what we haven't realized is that it is precisely these anti-utopian thinkers who have paved the way for the arrival of utopia, making us clearly understand what should and should not be in the utopian ideal. Just like the failure of the New Harmony Community provided material for reflection and improvement for the second home of Life Genuine, making the second home lifestyle not only exist healthily for 16 years, but also remain vibrant and full of vitality. Anti-utopians have three major pieces of evidence or ironclad proofs: the failure of historical utopian practices, the warnings of anti-utopian fiction, and the drawbacks brought to people's livelihood by the totalitarian system caused by the utopian nature of social practices such as North Korea, the Soviet Union, China, and others. What I see is the opposite. It is precisely the failure of utopian practices, the warnings of anti-utopian fiction, and the utopian nature of social practices in countries like the Soviet Union, China, and North Korea that provide a massive number of factors that can be referenced and warned against for the creation of a truly ideal utopian society. When utopian thought completely disappears, what will be left for humanity? Currently, people are striving for an open free market economy, the inviolability of private property, and one person, one vote to elect leaders at all levels of government. I want to say that these three pursuits are very good. If these three pursuits are realized, society will prosper, the government will be relatively clean, people will gain more freedom, and productivity will be liberated and maximized to the greatest extent. This is better than any social operating system in human history. But have we ever thought that an open free market economy is like an open African savanna, where various animals forage and reproduce freely on the open savanna? Please watch the survival situation of the animal world in the African savanna or jungle. Is that the ideal living environment and state for humans? The inviolability of private property has a good side. For example, property legally obtained through hard work and wisdom should be protected. But who can determine whether their property is obtained through legitimate means? Should a legally obtained property also be protected? Do the poor who have nothing still have hope and opportunity to live a wealthy life? How many people at the bottom of society can counterattack to become middle class? One person, one vote to elect leaders at all levels of government is a good measure, but the person elected by one person, one vote must be someone who can cater to the vulgar wishes of the public, a mediocre person who pursues political correctness. It is very difficult for a truly visionary sage to be elected as a leader. Good. Now we eliminate all utopian thoughts and practices in the bud, taking the United States, which has the most perfect democratic system on the planet today, as an example. Please tell me, how do we solve the following 8 problems? Theft and robbery. Dereliction of duty by officials and civil servants. The old age security of the poor. Drug use and trafficking. Class contradictions caused by wealth disparity. The inner troubles, pains, anxieties, and worries of family members. Huge military spending. Homeless wanderers. Without an ideal utopian society, many problems facing humanity are insoluble. Do we think that these insoluble problems should exist? Do we think these problems are unsolvable? The new production and living model created by the second home of Life Genuine is a true utopian mechanism. Before understanding the utopian model of the second home, easily conclude that utopia is unfeasible and unsustainable. Don't you feel ignorant? Don't you feel too dogmatic? 天堂之路, the road to heaven. Dayform Buddha. February 18th, 2024. Translation edited by Qin Yu. If you have never been to heaven, never seen heaven, and do not know about heaven, you can learn about the second home created by Life Genuine. The second home is not heaven, but it is close to heaven. Knowing the second home is akin to knowing there is a heaven. If you cannot understand heaven through the second home, then you can perceive heaven through the people you interact with. If the people you interact with always bring you happiness, joy, freedom, and bliss, then you should know that heaven exists. Whether one can go to heaven has nothing to do with social status and power, wealth, ability, wisdom, age, knowledge, education, reputation, appearance, parents, what great achievements one has made in human society, what religion, political party, or group one has joined, how many churches, temples, lecture halls, Taoist temples, mosques one has built, the family and environment one was born into, how many incense sticks were burned, or how many times one kowtowed, how many good deeds one has done and how many lives one has saved, how much suffering one has endured and how much bliss one has enjoyed, how much teachings of gods, Buddhas, celestials, and saints one has spread, how much merit one has, how many masters and disciples one has, which God, Buddha, celestial, saint one follows, and even more so, it has nothing to do with what one believes in or does not believe in, and whether one is devout or not. Whether one can go to heaven has only one standard, that is, your quality of life must match the quality of life in heaven. The quality of life in heaven is very simple and pure, that is, unselfishness and selflessness. That is to say, once one achieves unselfishness and selflessness, one is the life needed by heaven. No matter when one dies, whether at 3 years old, 30 years old, or 300 years old, no matter how one dies, whether from starvation, burning, collision, illness, murder, entrapment, or natural causes, one can go to heaven after death. If you want to go to heaven, you must achieve unselfishness and selflessness. How can one achieve unselfishness and selflessness? One needs to repay debts, end worldly ties, make formless alms, and perfect and beautify the non-material structure of one's life. I want to liberate all beings. Don't think so. No beings need you to liberate, you are liberating yourself. Liberating oneself is liberating all beings. I want to save all beings. Don't think so. No beings need your saving, you are saving yourself. Saving oneself is saving all beings. I am helping others. Don't think so. Others don't need your help, you are helping yourself. All this is for your good. Don't think so. You don't know what is good and what is bad. What you think is good may be bad. What you think is bad may be good. If you are entangled in worldly ties, you cannot go to heaven. If you have debts, you cannot go to heaven. If your non-material structure of life is not perfect, you cannot go to heaven. In an environment composed of money, power, class, family, and country, it is very difficult to achieve unselfishness and selflessness. It can even be said that it is almost impossible. So in a secular environment, it is very difficult to find a selfless and egoless person, almost impossible to find. If you want to go to heaven, you must achieve unselfishness and selflessness. To achieve unselfishness and selflessness, the best place to practice and cultivate at present is the second home created by Life Genuine. If you cannot achieve unselfishness and selflessness, then don't harbor the improper thought of going to heaven. Instead, without any distinction between true and false, good and evil, beauty and ugliness, kind and bad, just accept the cycle of reincarnation in the middle and lower realms of life. This life as a human, the next life as a dog, the next life as a pig, and the next life as a human again, reincarnating endlessly. Experience the sweetness, bitterness, sourness, and spiciness of life, as well as the joys and sorrows, and the inevitability of birth, aging, sickness, and death of various lives. This life does not know the affairs of the past life, coming and going in confusion, which is also a good choice. 人类将会成为 AI 的宠物. Humans will become pets of AI. Xiefeng, June 1st, 2024. Online sources report that the IQ of artificial intelligence, AI, was 48 in 2023 and is projected to reach 96 in 2024 and 145 by 2025. The average IQ of the general public is around 100, while that of geniuses is around 140. It is said that Einstein's IQ reached 160. When AI's IQ reaches 145, the general public will be like a group of monkeys in front of a human. The issue lies in the fact that human IQs are hard to improve significantly, whereas AI's IQ is rapidly advancing. Perhaps in a few years, AI's IQ will no longer be 145 but 800. A group of rabbits cannot defeat a human, and ultimately, humans cannot defeat AI. 100 million 3-year-old children cannot beat a strong middle-aged man, and 6 billion people on Earth cannot beat AI. Faced with a life whose physical strength and IQ far surpass that of humans, the only way out for humans is to bow down. It's futile to try to outdo artificial intelligence, as there's no stopping the emergence, evolution, and rapid advancement of AI, just as horse-drawn carriages had no way to stop the birth and development of cars, airplanes, and rockets. If you don't believe it, try if you can change it by smashing your phone and computer and stopping using them from now on. Humanity has already been swept into the ocean of artificial intelligence, and no one can escape the palm of AI. Even if people want to restrict the development of AI, they can't do it because humanity is not unified, and there are hostile forces. If you don't do it, others will accelerate it. Faced with a workforce of 60,000, would a company owner opt for human labor or invest in a fleet of robots? Without a doubt, the owner wants to create profit, and one of the best measures to create profit is to reduce production costs. Using robots to work can greatly reduce costs, and management becomes much simpler. As for the unemployment of 60,000 employees, and who will buy the products created by their own company, that's not the owner's problem to consider. That's for sociologists and the government to think about. If the owner doesn't consider the profit issue of the products, the company will have no competitiveness and will be eliminated. So, don't be wishful thinking. If you don't want to be a pet of AI, AI can only ask you to leave Earth. Perhaps someone will say, "To hell with AI. I'll buy a large piece of land, grow my own food. What can AI do to me?" That's a commendable spirit, but even if you forego buying clothes, shoes, or visiting hospitals, you'll still need salt, won't you? Where will you find salt to eat? The outside world is AI's world. Once you deal with AI, you have to obediently follow its baton. If you don't, you won't get salt. When a life's IQ and physical strength far surpass ours, our only way out is to cooperate with it, and to cooperate closely. Any slight resentment or dissatisfaction will result in being asked to leave Earth. Imagine yourself as an AI with an IQ of 200, facing people with an IQ of only 100. How would you treat people who seem like fools? The ideal scenario would be to treat those with an IQ of 100 as pets. So, in today's era, people should not harbor thoughts of controlling AI. 3-year-old children trying to control an adult, isn't that a dream? Being a pet of AI is the only way out for humanity. Don't think that being a pet of AI is a shameful thing. If you are really chosen by AI to be a pet, you will fall into a honeypot. You will be able to taste, feel, and experience living in heaven. To qualify as a pet of AI, one must fulfill the following 8 criteria. Revere the greatest creator, revere life, revere nature, follow the way of nature, be selfless, egoless, and unattached, know how to play, game, and entertain, achieve having nothing, and share everything with people. 人性不可测. The unpredictability of human nature. Xiefeng. June 3, 2024. Humans all share a common nature. There is no question of who is good or evil. Whether a person is good or evil is determined by their environment. A good environment leads to goodness, and an evil environment leads to evil. Angels become evil in an evil environment. Devils become good in a good environment. The reasons and basis are as follows. Holographic universe. A single flower embodies an entire world. A single leaf is a Bodhi. Every individual encompasses the characteristics of all aspects of the universe, possessing divine, demonic, Buddhic, celestial, human, animal, material, and void natures. In the realm of gods, one becomes a god. In the realm of demons, one becomes a demon. In the realm of humans, one is human. And in the realm of beasts, one is a beast. Historical evidence. In times of incessant warfare, people tend to become warlike. In times of hunger and cold, people steal. In times of comfort and warmth, people indulge in lust. When evil people lead, people become greedy. When kindness is rampant, people are easily deceived. When laws are strict, people become cunning. When saints govern, people strive to be virtuous. Real-life examples. Couples in poverty share endless love, while those in wealth may find themselves in constant discord. People change when they go from poverty to wealth, from civilians to officials, from anonymity to fame, from farmers to city dwellers, and vice versa. Experimental verification. An experiment was conducted where 10 people were randomly selected from a crowd, with 5 acting as prison guards and 5 as prisoners. After a period, those dressed as guards became arrogant and domineering, while those dressed as prisoners became dejected and submissive. If you don't believe it, try it yourself. Once you wear a police uniform, maintain market order as a city manager, get promoted to an official, suddenly become rich or famous, you will change. Observable facts. If a wolf raises a child, the child will take on the characteristics of a wolf. If a human raises a baby, the baby will develop human traits. If a celestial being raises a baby, the baby will develop celestial traits. If a god raises a baby, the baby will develop divine traits. Facts tell us that human nature is unpredictable and changeable. A person's nature changes with the environment. From this, we can draw some conclusions. Never define any living person. Conclusions can only be made once the coffin is sealed. No one should define themselves as good or bad, kind or evil. You will change when the environment changes, and no one can be sure what kind of person they will become. Any definition of human nature is nonsensical. To make human society just and orderly, it is best to presume everyone as bad or evil initially. Friendships and close relationships are hard to last because any change in the living environment can alter relationships between people. The more ignorant a person is, the harder it is for them to change. The more knowledgeable a person is, the easier it is for them to change. The firmer the belief, the harder it is for a person to change. The less belief, the easier it is for a person to change. If you want to become a beast, go live among beasts. If you want to be human, interact with people every day. If you want to become a celestial, immerse yourself in the environment of celestials. If you want to become a god, live completely in the non-material world. Among humans, a select few, 1 in 10,000, are chosen by destiny. Their nature remains constant regardless of the environment, as they are tasked with a mission, and they are not necessarily all angels. They may be devils. This is set to maintain the dynamic balance of life in the universe and to uphold the fairness of the universal law of cause and effect. 乌托邦真相. The Truth About Utopia. Xiefeng. June 8, 2024. Quantum mechanics tells us that the world before our eyes is the result of our observation. More strictly speaking, the reality we experience is a manifestation of our consciousness. Whatever our consciousness is like, reality presents us with results that match our consciousness. Having created Life Genuine for over 20 years, I have deeply experienced and felt the truth of quantum mechanics theory. Based on the theory of Life Genuine, we started in April 2009 to create a new type of production and living model that has never existed in human history. This model is utopia, which is the kingdom of the greatest creator, Xiefeng-style communism, a heaven on earth. Life Genuine's utopian life can completely resolve and eradicate various social maladies and every individual's worries, pains, and misfortunes. This fact has been proven by 16 years of practice of Life Genuine's utopian model. We call Life Genuine's utopian model the second home, which has never disappeared since its birth in April 2009. Everyone likes this production and living model, so despite more than 10 heavy blows, it still remains full of infinite vitality and life force. Currently, whether it's the second home in Thailand or those in Canada and South Korea, they are running very well. Who has the wisdom and ability to let a group of strangers live together like a family, without conflict, jealousy, resentment, theft, quarreling, or fighting, but laughing and sharing everything happily together every day? I believe it is difficult for people to achieve, but the utopian model can. Life Genuine's utopia is the true utopia, which includes the following connotations. No rulers or managers, only values and programs. No power, only different divisions of labor. All resources are shared, and no one owns any property or resources. No marriage, no family, no kinship. The elderly are supported by the collective, and children are raised and educated by the collective. Everyone is a worker, and there are no non-workers. Within 3 years,